Hello and welcome to my Diablo 4 Leap Kick Beta Barbarian. This is an experimental build that I put a lot of time and effort into creating during the weekend, trying to find a build that suits my playstyle the most. Coming from Diablo 3, I would say that it is a healthy mix between a Rico and a Earthquake Barbarian with high mobility, a lot of burst damage and a lot of fury generation. First of all, I would like to go through the items I managed to farm and craft during the weekend. The helmet and chest are generic quality of life items with some life, resistance, stats and damage over time reduction. The gloves have +1 level of Hammer of the Ancients, stats and core damage increase per overcapped fury. The pants grant us a lot of skill level as well as earthquake every time we use sleep. The boots grant us a lot of resistances as well as the ability to reset Leap's cooldown whenever we use kick or ground stomp. The weapon we are using we found from the level 35 elite mob that is on the left side of the map as a rare weapon, and what we did is we imprinted it with an aspect, so the required item level scaled down to the required item level of the aspect, and we are able to use it but keeping all of our main stats and damage per second. The imprint we chose grants us a stacking buff of 40% increased damage to our next leap every time we use our main skill Hammer of the Ancients, up to 600%. Our first one-handed weapon gives us increased damage to close enemies, a lot of strength and other stats, 7.5% damage while an enemy is vulnerable, which we will apply with kick for 4 seconds, I will tell you this later. The imprint grants us 40% of our Hammer of the Ancients damage to nearby enemies in a small area of effect, and although we are never attacking with our one-handers, they still grant us all of their modifiers. Our second one-hander gives us up to 4.5% chance to execute non-elites with a threshold of 35% of their maximum life as well as stats and overpower damage. The imprint grants us up to 31% increased damage while we have maximum fury, but this is an imprint I'm planning to upgrade in the future, which I will release in a future video. For our two-handed weapon we already found the upgrade some minutes before the beta server shut down. This is just one with generic stats. I will talk about all the improvements in updated video after the second weekend of beta, but the important part of this item is the aspect, which basically grants us kind of a finishing move of 1086 damage for 2 seconds after we used our kick. For our first ring we also found a decent upgrade regarding the aspect as well as increased crit and more life, but the stats on this one are pretty decent so far. Having the possibility to regain fury on kill with Hammer of the Ancient synergizes very good with the other aspects we are using, and I went for poison resistance as the gem to level out my resistances and just having a more chill time against the world boss. The second ring in our arsenal grants us more fury, critical strike damage and an insane 41 max life, but the true power lies within the aspect. This grants us up to a 46% chance whenever we use Leap to summon an Ancient which uses the same skill. In the second weekend of beta I'm planning to try to upheaval instead of Hammer of the Ancients as Fury Spender to see how it performs when using this ring. Last but not least is the amulet. This one grants us +1 level of our defensive skills, Warcry and Ground Stomp cooldown reduction, damage reduction from distant enemies, increased crowd control duration, as well as fury cost reduction, which makes it possible to use 3 times Hammer of the Ancients in one burst phase. A barrier of 1026 makes us insanely tanky every time we engage an elite or boss mob, which can be even increased further with any % barrier generation modifier. The basic skill we are using is Lunging Strike, which I consider a very high mobility skill. As our Fury Spender we use Hammer of the Ancients with up to 30% maximum fury increase and increased damage per fury spend. Ground Stomp helps us control the enemies and reset our leap cooldown. We use the 1 second increased duration as well as 25 fury on use. Our next main skill is Kick, which also applies vulnerability for 4 seconds and deals damage for every enemy hit in the knockback path. As Shout, we use Warcry to increase our damage by 60.5%, gain Berserking for 4 seconds, and even more damage against large packs. For Leap, we take the mandatory cooldown reduction while not hitting an enemy and 40 Fury Generation while hitting an enemy. That is the skill set for our build. Depending on your playstyle, you can consider swapping Warcry for our ultimate. Now I will showcase the build in a Tormented Ruins run. Enjoy!
I can't lift more.